At 65, I'm happier than I've ever been. And if you'd told me that 25 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. Back then, I was in my 40s, busy, stressed, and constantly chasing something. More money, more success, more approval. But now, life feels simpler, richer, and more fulfilling. And today, I want to share with you the 5 surprising reasons why I'm happier now than I was at 40. If you're over 60 or even if you're not, this might just change the way you think about aging. Let's start with the first reason. I stopped caring what others think. In my 40s, I was obsessed with other people's opinions. Did they like me? Did they respect me? Was I successful enough? I spent so much time trying to impress everyone. My boss, my neighbors, even strangers on the internet. I bought clothes I didn't like, went to events I didn't enjoy, and said things I didn't mean, all because I wanted to fit in. But here's the thing, no matter how hard I tried, I could never please everyone, and that constant need for approval, it was exhausting. I remember one particular moment that changed everything. It was at a work party. I'd spent hours picking out the perfect outfit, rehearsing what I was going to say, and worrying about how I'd come across. But when I got there, I realized something. No one was paying attention to me. They were too busy worrying about themselves. And that's when it hit me. Most people aren't thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. And that realization, it was liberating. Now at 65, I wear what I want, say what I want, and live how I want. I've stopped trying to impress people who don't matter. And you know what? People actually respect me more for it. When you stop seeking approval, you radiate confidence. And confidence, that's magnetic. It's not about being selfish or rude. It's about being true to yourself. And that's something I wish I'd learned sooner. I've also noticed something else. The less I care about others' opinions, the more I attract people who truly value me for who I am. My friendships are deeper, my relationships are more authentic, and my life feels more genuine. I've even started hobbies I used to be too embarrassed to try, like painting and dancing. And guess what? No one laughed. In fact, they cheered me on. Because when you stop worrying about what others think, you give yourself permission to be fully unapologetically you. If you're in your 40s, or even your 60s, and still worrying about what others think, I want you to know this. It's never too late to let go. Start small. Wear that outfit you love, even if it's not in style. Say what's on your mind, even if it's not what everyone wants to hear. Live your life for you, not for anyone else. Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that really matters is your own. But that's just the beginning. Wait until you hear reason 2. I learned to say no, and it changed everything. The second reason I'm happier now than I was at 40. I learned to say no. Back then I said yes to everything, work projects, social events, even things I didn't want to do. I thought it made me a good person, but it just made me tired. I was constantly overcommitted, stressed, and resentful. I'd say yes to please others, but in the process I was saying no to myself, to my time, my energy, and my peace of mind. I remember one particular moment that opened my eyes. It was a Saturday, and I'd already agreed to help a friend move, attend a work event, and host a dinner party. By the end of the day, I was exhausted, physically, mentally, and emotionally. As I sat on my couch that night, I realized something. I wasn't a better person for saying yes to everything. I was just a more tired one. And that's when I decided to make a change. Now, I say no without guilt. I protect my time and energy like it's gold. If I don't want to do something, I don't do it. And you know what? The world hasn't ended. In fact, people respect me more for it. When you say no, you're not being selfish. You're setting boundaries. And boundaries are essential for a happy, healthy life. I've also noticed something else. The more I say no to things that don't matter, the more I can say yes to things that do. I have time for the hobbies I love, the people I care about, and the moments that bring me joy. And that's made all the difference. Because life isn't about doing everything, it's about doing what matters. If you're constantly saying yes to things you don't want to do, I want you to know this. It's okay to say no. Start small. Say no to one thing this week. Something that drains you or doesn't bring you joy, and see how it feels. Because when you start saying no to others, you're saying yes to yourself, and that's where true happiness begins. But there's more. Reason 3 might surprise you. It's all about finding joy in the little things. The third reason I'm happier now than I was at 40. I've learned to find joy in the little things. Back then, I was always chasing big milestones, promotions, vacations, achievements. I thought happiness was something I had to earn or achieve. But now I've realized that happiness isn't a destination, it's a way of traveling, and it's often found in the smallest, simplest moments. I remember one particular morning that changed my perspective. I was sitting on my porch, sipping coffee and watching the sunrise. The sky was painted in shades of pink and orange, and the air was crisp and fresh. In that moment, I felt a deep sense of peace and contentment, and I realized something: I didn't need a big achievement or a fancy vacation to be happy. Happiness was right there, in that little moment. Now, I make it a point to slow down and appreciate the small things. A cup of coffee in the morning, a walk in the park, a phone call with an old friend. These moments might seem insignificant, but they're what make life rich and meaningful, and the more I appreciate them, the happier I feel. I've also noticed something else: when you focus on the little things, you start to see beauty everywhere. The way the sunlight filters through the trees, the sound of birds chirping in the morning, the smell of fresh bread baking in the oven. These moments are like little gifts, and they're available to us every day if we just take the time to notice them. If you're constantly chasing big milestones and feeling like happiness is always just out of reach, I want you to know this: happiness is here right now. It's in the little things. Start small. Take a moment to appreciate something simple today: a beautiful sunset, a good meal, a kind word from a friend. Because when you start to find joy in the little things, you realize that life is already full of beauty and wonder. But there's more. Reason 4 is a game changer. It's all about letting go of grudges. The fourth reason: I'm happier now than I was at 40. I've learned to let go of grudges. Back then, I used to hold on to anger like it was a trophy. If someone hurt me, I'd replay it in my mind for years. I thought holding on to that anger made me strong. But now, I've realized something: holding on to grudges doesn't hurt the other person, it hurts you. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I remember one particular grudge I held on to for years. It was with an old friend who had betrayed my trust. Every time I thought about it, I felt a surge of anger and resentment. But one day, I realized something: that anger was only hurting me. My friend had moved on, but I was still stuck in the past. And that's when I decided to let it go. Letting go of that grudge was one of the most freeing things I've ever done. It wasn't about excusing what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It was about choosing peace over pain. And once I let go, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I could breathe again. I could live again. I've also noticed something else. When you let go of grudges, you make space for better things like forgiveness, compassion, and joy. You stop carrying the past with you and start living in the present. And that's where true happiness is found. Because the truth is, life is too short to waste it on anger and resentment. If you're holding on to a grudge, whether it's with a friend, a family member, or even yourself, I want you to know this: it's never too late to let go. Start small, forgive one small thing today, and see how it feels. Because when you let go of grudges, you're not just freeing the other person, you're freeing yourself. And finally, reason 5 will change the way you see life. It's all about stopping the pursuit of perfection. The fifth and final reason: I'm happier now than I was at 40. I stopped trying to be perfect. Back then, I thought I had to be perfect. The perfect parent, the perfect employee, the perfect friend. I thought perfection was the key to success and happiness. But now, I've realized something. Perfection is an illusion. It's a trap that keeps you constantly striving and never satisfied. I remember one particular moment that changed everything. It was at my daughter's school play. I'd spent hours preparing, making costumes, rehearsing lines, and worrying about every little detail. But during the play, something went wrong. My daughter forgot her lines, and I panicked. I felt like I'd failed as a parent. But then, something amazing happened. The audience laughed. My daughter improvised, and the play went on. And you know what? It was perfect. Not because everything went according to plan, but because it was real and authentic. Now, I've embraced my flaws. I'm not perfect, and that's okay. In fact, it's what makes me human, and it's what makes life beautiful. I've learned to laugh at my mistakes, to celebrate my imperfections, and to find joy in the messy, unpredictable journey of life. I've also noticed something else. When you stop trying to be perfect, you give yourself permission to be fully unapologetically. You stop comparing yourself to others and start appreciating your own unique journey. And that's where true happiness is found. Because life isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. If you're constantly striving for perfection and feeling like you're never good enough, I want you to know this: you don't have to be perfect to be happy. Start small. Embrace one imperfection today, whether it's a mistake, a flaw, or a quirk, and see how it feels. Because when you stop trying to be perfect, you start living a life that's truly your own. So if you're in your 40s and feeling overwhelmed, or if you're over 60 and wondering if life can still get better, I want you to know this: happiness isn't about having it all. It's about letting go of what doesn't matter and embracing what does. And trust me, the best is yet to come. If this story inspired you, hit that subscribe button for more life lessons from unstoppable seniors, and let me know in the comments, what's one thing you're going to let go of to live a happier life? I'll see you in the next video.